right, now the fun part, getting it down to where I want without spilling the whole thing. Trying to get down to Family Joules to build that transfer onto WhatsApp. I think this little bit is the easiest route. Oh, there we go. Oh, losing the shovel. As long as I don't lose the dirt. Okay. Oh boy. There we go. Right on schedule. Welcome back to the Power Lines, episode 9. The last one I put out was late November, about 3 months ago, and it's been raining ever since. I have gotten quite a lot done, so I wanted to show off the progress. So I've added a few new segments, quite a few new features, some berms, some rollers, a couple rock features, some stumps, some drops, some gaps, all sorts of good stuff. Okay, the first new features are on Splurge Protector. So we now have a berm to cross the road, little roller, and on we go. Most things above the road were there last time, and when I cleared all the brush, I put it into a massive pile just off this side of the road in a space I didn't expect to use. That was short-sighted because I decided a few extra options off this berm would be a good use of the space. So if we take the berm and now cut this berm on the side of the road, we get to the first new line, analogs. So I wanted this to be a short connector to that center node with a few log wood techie bits. The stump was a nice little surprise that I found as I started cutting. So I tried to shape it, just a bit of saw work, into a nice roller, although it's quite steep, so I'm frankly a bit intimidated by it. But up we go, roll down the other side. Center node gives access to the 3 steeps in the middle, or hang left for most everything. Maybe a little bit of pedaling to get some of those kind of right side features. We'll see. Otherwise, a few easy options to the right. So step down a couple logs for skinnies, or step down on the right side for the easiest out. Something small to slide down. Whew. Analogs, I think it looks pretty cool, but like I said, it's a bit intimidating. So I definitely want it to dry out pretty well and work up the courage before I hit it. All right, the next little bit while we're here, Splurge Protector rhythm section coming towards us. I shaved it out a little bit so that with enough speed, maybe a good pump, we can take it backwards. So two-way segments, I think, really add quite a lot of variety. And that's the whole goal of the Power Lines. The next new line is called Tina Phase. So instead of taking Splurge Protector, we hang outside, drop in to a new berm, straight shot towards WhatsApp, and a few options along the way. So we could hang left, little kicker, just a little gap back to the road. We'll follow that along later. Second, hug the left side. We get to a little rock to pop off. That big rock was right at the top of the fork in the last one, and I first envisioned it as this rock to rock trail gap. And during my little test rides, it really didn't work out as well as I expected. It's a bit clunky. So I moved it downhill, and it has a much better use now. Last option from here is the little roller section. So triple roller, they look a little tight, so may have to space them out. But the intent is to be able to go high left, up the road to a few options. And if we were coming back off the road this way, we now could either do the rhythm section, turn down to one of either forks, or run back up Tina Phase, hopefully use these rollers as pumps, and get back up to analogs. At least the kind of easy bits of them. It'd be pretty ambitious to get on top of the stump from here, but maybe that's a good trials challenge. We'll see. Okay, carrying on Tina Phase. Couple rollers, crossover. We get to the we get to the next fork. From the fork, we could either hang right to Hertz Donut or continue on Tina Phase. From here, we could take the rock and pop off, little gap over the berm, continue out to WhatsApp. Or hug left, drop into a right hand switchback, and route back to that bottom node where most of the steeps are available. Last little bit in this area, I softened out this little uphill. So I want to be able to, with just a good pump, get to the connector and have access to these 3 middle steeps. So pretty tight to get there, but more variety. All right, back at the center node, let's continue on the main line. The next new feature is an extension to I Love Amp. So previously, take the line, and you have this kind of slow, awkward track standy bit to enter into the steep. It's a good skill to practice, but I added a variation. So I made this berm a bit softer, so I want to be able to have enough speed to rail up and hopefully just with a pump or maybe a pedal, get back to Tina Fey's, drop into the berm, and now we have a straighter shot. So more variety, more fun. Afterwards, we have shock lobster. So drop in towards Tina Fey's. Oh God, it's greasy. Hang left, pop off the rock, a little gap to the road. Eventually put a berm here, I think. Double back to the blind takeoff for shock lobster drop. So it's about 4 feet down, clear some ferns, I don't know, a big bike length or so. Nice long landing, good catch berm, boost out to the left towards WhatsApp. Just a little floating takeoff, but I think that'll be a blast. And the next new features are on Hertz Donut. So up towards Family Joules, hang right, and we now cross over this roller. I tried to make it work both ways. It probably needs some shaping, but if we cross the road, we get to this new stump. I just found it in the brush cutting one of the other trails, and I think this is a pretty good home for it. Shaped a little ramp into it, and now we have a gap over Splurge Protector. So definitely right is primary. It's a straighter shot, but in the spirit of variety, I'd love to be able to take it to the left towards Tina Fey's as well. Maybe needs some shaping, definitely needs some test rides, but overall, I think it looks pretty cool. Now let's do upper Splurge Protector because it has a new fork. So round the berm, cross the road, over the Xbox pump. I steepened up this takeoff. I widened out the landing. I think it'll hip quite a lot better. I flattened out the landing up here, so not much of a step up. I pulled that little fork stumpy bit back. It flows a lot nicer. So if we hang to the outside, I reshaped this entire exit. Stay on my feet. And now it should flow a lot nicer across the road. Should be able to keep speed up. Or we go straight to the new line, Quantum Leap. So hop off the rock, pop over the log. Need to clean this up a bit, but the goal is to build a road gap. So come barreling down, somewhere just on the other side of the ditch, at a nice takeoff, and float to the far side. Oh boy. Something like that. This landing took forever to clear, but I think I have it shaped pretty decently. Maybe a little massaging, but it's mostly there. I don't know, maybe my eyes are bigger than my skills, but it looks doable in my brain. So little takeoff on this side, you know, not a big slope style jump, maybe a couple feet tall, rollable, maybe soften the knuckle and just gauge speed until it feels good. Oh, big dreams. Let's see if it works. I've also added some new bits to Family Joules. Up the trail, ride high on the rock to square up for the gap over Splurge Protector. You can see shock lobster is now hittable from here. And maybe if we hip hard enough and control speed, we could get to the Splurge Protector entrance. Definitely possible if we hip, there's gonna be less speed, so that's gonna be easier to cut back. Otherwise, both options take you to shock lobster. We now have another berm on Family Joules, and the intent is the harder you hip, the better you have a setup for corner entry. If you don't hip very far, you're gonna miss the whole corner and you just have to dive off the road later on. So, hard hip, it's a decreasing radius, so an annoying corner. That's part of the fun. So slow in, fast out, across the road to a new berm. Not quite rideable yet. And it merges back with the road gap on Quantum Leap. I don't think speed's gonna be there to clear it, but the intent is just roll over and drop into Family Joules. Okay, we've looked at this area from WhatsApp coming towards us, from Tina Fey's coming downhill, but from this entrance we had several more options. So we can either ride the skinny, hop the double, couple pumps back to get to the mid steeps, or I Love Amp. We could hang to the right now that Tina Fey's is cut in, cross to the right of the stump, same, bounce up to the mid steeps, go to I Love Amp, or get a wide corner entry for this switchback. So it's tight, it's downhill, right now it's super greasy, but we get to a roller, we can duck off into AC/DC or continue on to the new kicker. Pop out, land on that shared WhatsApp landing. As long as you don't go too far right, it should work out pretty well. So what I'm really excited for about this is it's all dependent on how well I can corner, pump, and hop. So great skills practice. Okay, last new bits in this area. Typically straight over the double on WhatsApp. Now we can hang left around the stump. So maybe a little hip across the berm squares you up really nicely for the WhatsApp hip. If we instead took the double, I added a ramp next to the skinny. My goal is to be able to hop and hip to the Quantum Leap landing. So I think with some speed, we'll be able to get here easily enough. Definitely don't need that big of a landing, but I have something else in mind. I want to build it like Shock Lobster with a blind takeoff from the road, but bigger. So from Splurge Protector, add a new fork that comes straight towards us, cross over the road, flat takeoff, hop over the ferns, gap over Family Joules, and land down there somewhere. I think it'll look cool. Maybe again, my eyes are getting ahead of my skills, but I think it looks possible. So we'll build it and see how it feels. All right, I think that covers all the updates. I really just need a few days of dry weather so I can test ride. I've done some basic roll-ups on most features just to gauge speed and shape, and it all looks like it'll work well. I'm sure I'll need some fine-tuning. I'm frankly scared to hit most of this stuff while it's so greasy. Just doesn't give me much confidence. So I'm afraid I just need to be patient, wait for it to dry out. But in the meantime, I have plenty more features I want to add, a few more segments. I'm basically using edge to edge of the property. I can expand this way just a little bit farther. I'm really not eager to cut more blackberries, so I'll probably just add some more features in this bit. Otherwise, hopefully we get some dry weather soon, because I'm eager to play.